How can one distinguish between a genuine and a fake prophet? Why are Nigerians major victims of fake prophecy? Hello, listeners. My name is Uncle Pascal, and with me in the podcast is
You're frankly speaking, Franklin.
and Mr. Chisom. Yeah, together we welcome you to yet another episode of Breaking Silence podcast, where every voice matters, no matter how small, no matter how ignored. Today, we will be debating on a very sensitive topic in our society, and that is fake prophecy industry and its impact in the society. I want to ask this question. What is the line between genuine faith and all this commercial manipulation called fake prophecy in our society? Because we need to create awareness and let our people understand the difference between genuine and fake prophecy. So that is the angle I want us to start with. How can one distinguish between a genuine and a fake prophet? Is there a criteria to distinguish between a genuine and fake prophet?
For me, I believe in the issue of faith because I sometimes people worship God for what they will receive and they don't have relationship. So when you have relationship with God, you can easily discern when what someone is telling you is true or false. So what we do is that we are just looking at miracle, and because the pastors see the variability, so they try to merchandise these miracles. I think that's where the problem is.
Well, can I come into what you have said? You mentioned about faith, you understand? Like maybe when you have a personal and like kind of conviction, and when you have a conviction that maybe this is the right thing, this is the right thing, you understand? Then again, don't you know that, or like, don't you have coincidence of the fact that maybe when you have been manipulated or kind of brainwashed into believing that this is the right thing, then like you may not be able to see the foresight of whatever is being sold to you, or whatever.
From what you people just said, my take-home point, one, you should have discernment spirit.
Yes.
That is number one key that will help you to say that this person is genuinely prophet of God or not.
And then again, I mentioned that, like for me as a person, what triggers me or makes me to say that this is maybe a man of God or maybe this person is trying to code me is whenever you keep mentioning money. Because I've seen people now, they will come to tell you that they want to give you a message. After the long talk of message for you from God, they will now come and tell you to
Pay them.
sow seed or support.
So that means you are talking about when faith becomes transactional.
Yeah, when faith becomes transactional. Like once you mention I should give you money, know that no, well, that's the line for me that will never cross.
Okay, another sensitive questions I want to throw out to you guys is why are Nigerians major victims of fake prophecy? Is it out of desperation or blind trust? Can you say something about that?
Yes, it is. To me, in fact, is more than desperation and blind trust. Nigeria has this tag of being religious. So we are meant to believe that our problems would only be solved. The solution to our problems will come only from God, without us knowing that God has given us the wisdom to solve these problems. For me, when I pray, sometimes I don't ask God to solve the problem. I ask God to give me the wisdom to know what to do in order to come out of those problems. So, because we've made to believe that everything depends on God, we have removed our free will, the free will that God has given to us. I think so. That is what brings the desperation. That is what brings the blind trust. I think so. So the problem is multifaceted.
And if I can add to what you already said, I think that why Africa is mostly reliant on God factor is because like we lack this mindset or like mentality of trying to understand our problem. But here in Africa, once you don't understand anything, like in the olden days when you read this book by Chinua Achebe, the things for apart. You know that Okonkwo's father.
Oh, Onoka.
Onoka had a protruding stomach, and he said that it was what he did, that caused that problem for him. That protruding stomach can be as a result of liver cirrhosis. Because people have made research on this particular problem and I found out that this is not spiritual, but is a natural occurrence that comes when your liver is bloated. That's what I mean now. So like here in Africa, we don't take research very serious. We just flow with whatever you see. Okay, like what we don't understand this thing now. You say that it is it is an act of God. You understand what I mean now? So most Africans now they don't believe in finding solutions to their problems. Rather, they say, let's go and pray, fast, sow seed and all this, so we can solve our problem.
Avert it. Okay. But can I just say something there? I think in my own, I will look at it as the problem of new colonization or new colonism. I'll just put it that way because when the Europeans came to Africa,
Yes.
they brought civilization and they took our own culture from us, or we allowed them to take off our own culture. Part of the problems that we have is that we've been unable to merge our culture and the European culture to find a common ground that will make us different. Remember that each climate has their own problems. So because we believe everything that they have told us, then we took away our own power. They're not the ones to solve our problems.
Yes.
So remember that African of the olden days still had solutions to some of these things. Look at somebody like, in my village, if you want to do better, you want to do party, you tell all these people that hold rain, rainmakers, you tell them, they will help you to do that.
Yes.
So for us to have developed into that, remember then, when these things came into place, we also had our own religion that we believed in.
Yes.
So if we have actually believed in religion or in our own culture and then take this civilization, put it together, we could have been able to have where our reasoning will continue. You know that your faith begins where your reasoning stops.
Okay.
So
Yes.
we can be able to reach to that point. And for that reason, African has failed to develop human capacity. Because if we develop human capacity, that is when we will know about research. We will now start asking the right questions.
Yes.
Because if before now, if you were told that people could fly on air, had it been you were there in 1640 and you were told that people could fly, you will not believe it. You will think it's magic.
Yes.
But there are right questions to ask, and the environment has to be conducive, and that conducive environment is human capital development.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Mr. Franklin. I think why there is exponential growth of this fake prophecy industry is number one, because of the economic exploitation of the gullibles. So what do you have to say about that, Mr. Franklin?
Yeah, the economic exploitation of the gullible. If I have to say that, that means I have to sound political, and I would like to sound political. The economic exploitation is because the government has failed to do what they have to do.
Okay, there's been a scenario whereby maybe worshippers are asked to sow seed to claim prophecy. Is that biblical or is that an error in this system?
No, you don't give God because you want to receive from God. So faith
And
is
there are
not
cases where if this prophecy fails, they will blame it on you that your faith is not enough to carry the prophecy.
Faith is not transactional.
Okay, still on the economic exploitation, there's been a scenario where one woman went and sold a seed with her husband car without the husband notice. Like, what would this happen then?
She sold, but did the pastor ask her? Did the pastor say you must bring the car? Or you
But
must bring
what
the money?
happened in that instance is that they were looking for fruit of the womb and they've gone to several places, and that lady visited this pastor and the pastor prayed for the woman and she conceived. So the pastor now asked her that she should sow the husband car to the Lord for the miracle. So she went about doing that without the consent of the husband. And when the husband got to know, he went straight to the pastor and collected and retrieved back the car. So do you think that that young man has abused God's power or man of God or something like that? You believe so?
Definitely, because if I take that pastor to court, I will ask the pastor to prove that God asked him for my car.